did Hotta Studios fix NTE racing? The latest hotfixes specifically targeted online racing issues, including the Regalia Griffin, collision problems, race start bugs, a lot of other bugs with the online racing PvP. If you're like me, you spent millions of fons trying to turn your Griffin into a performance car, you probably want to know if it finally drives like one. So today we're comparing pre-patch racing chaos with post-hotfix gameplay to see what changed, what improved, and what still needs work. Did the Griffin get buffed? Is racing fixed? Let's get into it. I had to clarify a couple things. The first beginning half of this video, it doesn't have a lot of audio from the racing, the vehicle sounds, the ambient sounds. The beginning portion, before the patches and before the most recent updates, it did not record internal sound when you were screen recording on mobile, at least on my device. I don't know if it did on others. After these most recent two hotfixes, it does in fact record audio when you screen record on mobile now. So the first half of the video, you won't hear the car sounds. The second half of the video, you will hear the car sounds. And you will see the difference in the performance of the car, the bugs that were happening before the hotfixes, whether or not they improved after the hotfixes and patches were dropped. And that includes like the Griffins sticking to walls. That was one that they specifically mentioned. There's a bug with the player synchronization that allows players to kind of slingshot in front of you. You'll see that. A couple different bugs that you'll be able to see.
I'm playing Neverness to Everness.
Let's get into that.
It's a anime style, GTA style, gacha. It's on multiple platforms. I have been doing passing a lot of the time with the racing feature. And I'm going to show you kind of some of the issues that I've seen with some of the racing. This is some screen recorded gameplay from my phone. The first portion of the video that you'll see, here I'm showing like the specs of my car, what parts I have. You can pause and look at what part numbers it is if you want to see what my loadout is on both cars. I'll mostly only be driving the Griffin, but these videos are pre-patch. They did release a patch that did specifically target some aspects of racing. So I'll show you a couple clips from some of the racing, and you'll see some of the issues that I had while trying to enjoy that feature. You can immediately see like how the Griffin will stick to walls. One recent bug that I've noticed is this character avatar sticking through the roof like it's a sunroof. I mean, I guess we could call that a feature instead of a bug, but the character is definitely supposed to be sitting down. The character model is kind of glitched there. The ramps have inconsistent speed, so you'll see that I'll go over some of the ramps and it will take me, it'll drop my speed to below like 130, but then whenever I go onto the larger ramp, the other double ramp, it takes my speed well over 200, and when I land it keeps that speed and it doesn't decrease midair. So the ramps are inconsistent as far as how the speed boost works. Personally, I hate this track. This track is called Sunset Neon. I've never really won a race on this track. I don't know, I'm just not that good on this track, to be honest. It's not my favorite track. As you can see, if you don't make it to the finish line when the timer goes off, even if you were not in last place, you will just get a did not finish, which is negative against your overall season score. So if you don't think that you're going to finish the race, I would say quit the race so that you don't get the negative mark. Here is a race at Inner City Tour, which is one of the other maps, or the other, what do you call it, the other track. It's nighttime and raining, sometimes it's daytime and snowing. Here you can kind of see a little bit of the rubber band effect, where some of the other players' cars will like launch forward. It's like the players aren't synced, perhaps, position-wise, like server-wise. There's some player sync issues there, perhaps. But it is known that there is also kind of an exploit where you can kind of hold down the acceleration before the countdown is finished, and it can cause you to jump the gun. But you can see that from these tracks, from these clips rather, that it's very inconsistent. Sometimes the hitbox of the Griffin is like magnetic and it sticks to walls as soon as you touch them. Sometimes it bounces off of walls and other people's cars. Other people's cars, for some reason, at least in my experience, let me know in the comments if your experience is different, but other people's cars don't really seem to take a whole lot of damage when you try to pit them, versus when they pit you, you immediately smack into the wall. And then if you try to pit them, your car just kind of slides off of their car, and then you just smack into the wall anyway. It overcorrects you. So, I don't know. I can't win for losing when it comes to the pit maneuver on this game. I can't figure it out. If you know the secret to the pit maneuver on this game, let me know. If you think that it's bots, let me know in the comments. Personally, I think that it could be maybe like a mixture of both. Could be just a skill issue. Could also be bots. But you can immediately see that, when you touch some of these tracks, the walls, you just stick to the wall. It's like magnetic. That was a major issue. And if you tried to get off the wall, first nothing happens, and then you overcorrect and just kind of smack into the other wall. I had to turn the sensitivity way down in order to drive the car on any track, regardless of where it was. So that was an issue that I consistently ran into. You can see that I was about ready to quit, and I decided to try and do it anyway and make it to the finish line in 10 seconds or less. Because if you at least finish the race, you'll get fons. You may get a negative mark on your rank for the season, but at least you'll get the money. But I did still make it, so that counts. Again, I feel like there were some things that really needed to be fixed about the racing. I wasn't really satisfied because I dumped millions of fons into upgrading this car. I thought it was a really cool car. I really enjoy the racing feature. And this car that I've dumped a bunch of performance modifications into did not feel like it was performing like a car that I've dumped millions of fons worth of performance features into. And it didn't really feel like a worthwhile investment a lot of times when the win-to-loss ratio is so high. Like, my seasonal rank is mostly accomplished through second and third place, not through wins. Here we are at Sunset Neon again. I absolutely hate this track. For the life of me. I've never won a race here. I don't enjoy it. If you like Mario Kart, you might enjoy it. If I use the go-kart here, it might be fun if this was like a go-kart only race or something like that. But I really don't enjoy this track. I don't enjoy how much the hazards slow you down. Here you can see I get close to the wall, and like magnetically I stuck to the wall. It wasn't even ripping the wall panels off, but my car was only going like 80. So you can see before the patch that continuously the Griffin kind of ran into this wide body problem of just kind of magnetically sticking to the walls, even if you just barely touch them. The Zendesk support, they did get in touch with me, and they were like, well, send us some screenshots or video of the gameplay with this stuff happening, and we'll take a look at it. And I'm like, dude, a screen recording from a modern phone there's no way I can make it that small of an attachment. You know, the data file was much too large, so I decided to make a YouTube video. Here in these couple clips, you can see kind of the inconsistency of the ramp speed. And it just kind of, like I said, on some of the ramps, you lose a lot of speed mid-air, and then it slingshots you when you hit the ground. And then on some of the ramps, you gain a ridiculous amount of speed, and it keeps consistent through the air and when you hit the ground. And you only lose speed when you hit the ground if your vehicle can't go that fast. Here's another track, once again in the rain. You'll see kind of that magnetism, getting hit with the pit maneuver, still trying to straighten it out, trying to save the race. I don't see how other people's cars don't seem to, like, how are they able to wreck into my car at like full speed and it doesn't affect their car at all? It doesn't stop their car, slow them down, etc. That tends to kind of, it bothers me a little bit, because it makes me feel like, okay, there must be something that they know that I don't, and I struggle to understand how they learned it. You can see so and so has dropped out of the race. Now keep mind of that, because that's going to be important in a second here. As you can see, I got hit with the pit maneuver again. I'm not happy about that. My car competitively is able to actually keep up with this car. So I'm going to try and pit maneuver him back. As you see, it doesn't really have any effect, and I kind of spin off of him and get smacked into the wall. Which again is very frustrating, because I don't understand how it should affect. If hitting the back corner panel of one person's car causes them to spin out, then hitting the back corner panel of another person's car should cause them to spin out. And like I said earlier in the video, you kind of seen the performance modifications that I have on this car. So it's got the best, like, all-weather traction, all-weather setup. It can drift, but it can also handle like this type of environment. And you see how I was able to just kind of smack the back bumper off of there, but so-and-so's car was there, and so I smacked into their car. He didn't finish the race, and he quit, and his car was left in the middle of the track. But finishing third, still counts. It still counts. Here, again, right at the start of the race, get hit with the pit maneuver, get stuck on the sign, like, basically doomed from the start here with this race. Try as I might, I try to make a comeback, but it's just too little too late. Finish last, actually get negative rating, still get a bunch of fons. Needless to say, I complained, and I sent a big list of complaints. And Hotta Studios quietly did something in the background in the midst of my frustration. They decided to do a patch, an update, while I was working on my Kokoro Rider collection. And so I logged back in after both of these patches had been released and decided to try the racing again. What did I receive? Well, the Griffin felt like a performance car. It felt like I justifiably dumped several million fons into upgrading this car, and being able to race with it in online PvP, and it performed the way a high-performance car should. Does it stick to walls? That's a good question, because that's what they said they fixed. If I don't run the race clean, I guess we'll get to see how that pans out. But actually, I'm able to run much of the race clean, after kind of, again, experimenting with the handling. I actually decided to change my graphics settings to performance mode, lowest settings, turn off Anti Aliasing, turn it up to 60 frames per second, performance. I found a tip on YouTube that 60 frames per second gives you the best performance with the Griffin for some reason. I don't know why your graphics settings has any bearing on the performance of a specific car. That doesn't make sense, but whatever. Here you can see I got stuck on the tunnel wall and had to use the reset button. And it would have given them, hopefully, an opportunity to try and catch up. But, again, the car drove like a performance car, and I still put up a modest, like, 2.5 minutes. So, post-patch, post-hotfix update, racing feels a little bit cleaner. Here you can see at the start of the race, there's already some player sync issues. Cars are already moving before the countdown is done. But we're running the race pretty clean at the start. Nobody's trying to jam into each other, ram into each other, bounce off the wall a little bit there. The magnets don't stick to the wall. Running through this track during the snow, it's a good chance that you slide. In the past, my car's been very slidey at corners on this track, and you can see I'll come through, try to round this corner, and just kind of pinball off the walls. And you can do that, and you lose speed, but you don't get stuck to the wall like a refrigerator magnet anymore. And even the hazards don't stick to you like refrigerator magnets anymore. So it seems like they improved the clinginess of the Griffin. They improved a lot of the, I think, some of the player sync issues that have been happening. Mind you, if you actually look at my ping, it's not the best. I'm just playing on a data connection, not Wi-Fi, and I'm just doing my best. But the car is racing like it should, I feel like, for what it's worth. And winning felt good. It felt like I earned it. It felt like I actually had to do my thing on the racetrack in order to secure the win. Here you can see racing again. Competition is good. They have competitive vehicles to mine. Once again, smack off the wall. No refrigerator magnet effect. And I can come through around the corners clean. Cornering feels clean. Even running into hazards and obstacles, it slows you down, but you're able to pick up speed. It feels like the transmission upgrades that you dumped into were worth it. This corner, I didn't necessarily drift around it. That's a little bit of a drift, but you kind of brute force it by just letting off the gas pedal. You can naturally kind of power glide around the corner. Like, the handling feels a little bit cleaner. Now, mind you, I did fiddle with testing the vehicle, what's the word for it? Sensitivity. So the vehicle driving sensitivity. I turned mine way down. Mine is on like 0.8. And that seems to be acceptable at 60 frames per second with the performance graphical settings, Anti Aliasing turned off. As you can see, even if there's a visual bug, like for example my character avatar standing through the car like it's a sunroof, I'm still able to race and perform. Here I'm fighting for this race. It's kind of a tough one. I could have got pitted there, and I did bounce off the wall, did not get stuck to the wall. That's notable, especially with another character ramming it. Here you can see that with my car's acceleration, I simply outpaced him. I drifted into this turn, tried to kind of force him over towards that other player's car, which I still wish they would remove players' cars who've quit the race from the track, because that then becomes a hazard and you don't even know where it is until you run into it again. But unfortunately for now, that is what it is. You just kind of have to deal with it. As you can see, the Griffin is now a lot more forgiving than it used to be. No more wall stick. It performs like it should, given it has like the top upgrades for like suspension and transmission and engine and tire tread, not moving tires. top speed due to vehicle damage. So I feel like all in all, being able to actually secure victories after walking away with so many L's playing the racing mode of NTE, when they have specifically said that they worked on fixing issues with racing, specifically with players getting a head start, specifically with the Griffin colliding and sticking to the environment. They said they fixed it, and it appears to be fixed. The car is performing. It's no longer performing like a wasted investment. I'll put it that way. It's not that the Griffin got a buff. It's that racing got a little bit more optimized. I discovered a couple ways to kind of tune my personal setup to help me optimize it a bit more. But I kind of hope that answers anybody's questions about the state of racing right now, the online racing feature in NTE. I think it's a great way to earn fons. I think that when you get, especially if you saw at the end of the races, even when I lose, I'm getting like 30,000 fons. That's pretty good for a 3-minute race. 2:45, 2:33. That's pretty good for a 3-minute race, plus like 30 minutes of sitting in a lobby screen for a second. Like, I think that's a pretty good earn. You do that 3 times, that's what, 9 minutes, 90k just for losing. If you win, like you saw when I won, I got like 40k. 3 times, that's 120k. In 9 minutes, we'll say 10 minutes. Granted, you have to go back to the racing menu every time. We'll say 10 minutes. That's 120,000 basically guaranteed. Not necessarily guaranteed, but anywhere from 90 to 120,000 guaranteed in the same 10 minutes that you could be doing your best attempt and route, optimized route, special route on Pink Paws Heist and relying on RNG and telephone booth locations. Or you could just do some racing. Same amount of time, same or greater rewards, basically guaranteed. If you're trying to get rid of city stamina, you can easily do that. If you think you're going to lose, like last place, you can quit and you won't take a negative hit to your season ranking. As of right now, I don't know. They may patch that, but so far, that's the state of racing. That's the state of the patches that they introduced, the fixes that they introduced, how they've affected racing, and some visual examples for you to see, for them to see. Yeah, I enjoy the racing. I hope you'll enjoy it too. See you in the next video.